Whether you've just bought an iPad or have had one for years, these 10 tips will help you properly set up and use your iPad. I've used one for over 7 years now, and in this video I will share how to optimize your iPad's battery life, display settings and performance, as well as highlight a couple of features that you probably don't know about. These tips apply to all recent iPad models, so let's get right into it. Starting off strong, I wanted to share some iPad gestures that you probably don't know about. Did you know, for example, that each corner of the iPad has its own shortcuts? You can swipe from the bottom left corner to take a screenshot, from the bottom right corner to start a quick note, from the top left corner to open the notification center, and from the top right corner to open the control center. But those aren't the only gestures your iPad has to offer. When you're in an app, you can swipe from left to right with 4 fingers to switch between apps, for example. And if you own an Apple Pencil, you can actually tap on a turned off iPad screen with the pencil to quickly start a quick note. Heading over to the home screen, I have done something that lets me quickly change home screen setups and wallpapers using focus modes. I have a home screen for work and entertainment now, for example, and here's how you can set this up as well. First, we want to create the different home screens. We can do this by going into jiggle mode and clicking on the 3 little dots here. Now we want to create a home screen for each of our scenarios and make sure to hide all of them except the one you want to use as a default by unchecking them in the overview. Once you've done that, go to settings, focus modes, and create a focus mode for each of our scenes by tapping on the plus button here. This is also where you can add a color and icon to the focus mode to make it a little more aesthetic. And the last thing we need to do is that we actually need to link the focus mode to the home screen, and it's quite easy. Just go to the focus mode you want to change in settings, click here and select the home screen you want to link it to. And if you want to link a wallpaper to the focus mode as well, you can do so by clicking here and selecting a wallpaper. Now whenever you want to switch home screen setups, just head over to your control center and activate the focus mode from there. By the way, all the wallpapers you just saw are from my Orb wallpaper pack, and they are available for iPhone as well. I'll leave a link to the pack in the description in case you want to check it out. Staying on the home screen, there's actually one more tip that I wanted to share with you, and that's that you can press and hold on an icon to get an overview of quick actions for that app. You can do this on the Mail app to quickly write a new email, and on the Safari app to open a new private window, for example. Another quick tip that a lot of people don't seem to know about is that when you're in split screen and you want to copy and paste text between windows, you can actually just select the text and drag it over to the other window to paste it there. The same goes for images, and you can even select multiple items by selecting one item and then using another finger to select the others. This is super simple, but a lot of people don't seem to utilize this. Another way to fasten your iPad's workflow is to create automations for text replacement. I found myself typing out my super long email address a lot, for example, and now I just need to type e-address and hit space to type it out. To set this up, you want to go to settings, general, keyboard, text replacement, and click on the little plus button to create a new automation. Then we want to type the full email address in the top bar right here and the trigger word in the bottom bar right here. And make sure that the trigger word is something that's easy to remember, because you of course will need to remember that one. iPads nowadays have amazing displays, but there are a few things we need to do to make sure that our iPad's displays are fully optimized. To do this, head over to settings and then go to the display and brightness section. In here there are 3 things we need to change and check on. First of all, we want to select the right appearance mode. This is really up to personal preference, but I've got mine set to automatic here so that it goes into dark or light mode depending on the time of day. Secondly, I would recommend to turn True Tone off for most people. For those that don't know, True Tone uses the sensors of the iPad to determine the color temperature of the room and changes the iPad's display settings accordingly so that it's easier on the eyes. This is great for when you're reading a book, for example, but when you are editing photos or doing any sort of work that involves the colors on the display, it's actually working against you because those colors are being changed. So when you edit a photo with True Tone on, it will probably end up looking different when you view it on a device that doesn't have True Tone. So yeah, if you're doing any sort of color related work on your iPad, make sure to turn it off. The last display setting we want to change is night shift. Night shift is kind of like True Tone, but this one gets rid of blue light so that you can still use your iPad right before you go to bed without it affecting your sleep. And it does this by making your display a bit warmer. I do have this one turned on, but I've got it set to start at a time at which I will definitely not be doing any serious work anymore, because this also heavily influences the colors on your display. Moving on, there are 2 things we can do to optimize the battery of the iPad, besides turning on low power mode. The first is turning off Hey You Know Who in settings, because with this option turned on, your iPad is actually actively listening for the words Hey You Know Who, and this can slurp up a ton of battery. So if you want to optimize your iPad's battery, make sure that it's turned off. To do this, go to settings, head over to the Siri and search section and set this toggle to off. Another setting we could change to preserve battery is turning off AirDrop. See, with AirDrop turned on, your iPad is always looking for an AirDrop signal, which of course has an impact on your iPad's battery life. So to turn this off, go to settings, general, AirDrop and set receiving to off. Now if we do want to receive AirDrops occasionally, we can always go into the control center and press down on the AirDrop icon to start receiving AirDrops again for a brief period. By the way, a common misconception that most people have is that to save battery, you should also close as many apps as possible in the app switcher, but this is not true. That's because your iPad freezes these apps so that they are using barely any battery, and having to start these apps up from scratch takes more battery than actually letting them stay on in the background. So please don't close off apps to preserve battery, it will only work against you. By the way, if you want to optimize your iPad's performance, make sure that you turn off low power mode. This mode actually decreases your iPad's performance to save battery, which is great if you want to save battery, but yeah, it does come at the cost of your performance. Moving on to the next tip, did you know that you can kind of turn your power button into an action button? You can set this up through the accessibility settings so that when you triple tap your power button, it will actually perform an action. I've got mine set up to activate the magnifier, for example, and here's how you can set this up as well. So what you want to do is head over to settings, scroll down to accessibility and head over to the accessibility shortcut. From there you can pick from a few options, but the ones you probably want to check out are the magnifier and the background sounds. And once you've selected one of them, you can triple press the power button to activate it. If you're a longtime iPad user, you might have noticed that the calculator app is missing from the iPad. And this of course is pretty annoying, but I found two solutions to counter this, the first being a third-party app. I'm using one called Calculator Plus, which is pretty decent and has a free version available, but probably a better way to solve this is to do your calculations in the Spotlight. You can access Spotlight by swiping down on your home screen or using the shortcut Command Space if you're using a keyboard. And from there you can just type in any calculations and it will solve them for you. Now if you also have a Mac, you might want to check out this video next, in which I share a bunch of tips and tricks for the Mac. In the video I go over how to optimize Finder, how to set up a firewall and a lot more, so make sure to check it out. Thanks so much for watching and I hope to see you soon. Bye!